Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today I am going to be giving you guys some senior tips and some college application tips. So if you're interested, stay tuned. We just gonna take a minute and look at how good my edges look. Like, they just slayed. Okay, so I made some notes on my phone, so excuse me if while I look at my phone, because I wanted to make sure that I gave y'all like everything I could think of. So the first thing that I want to say for senior year tips: your grades matter till the end. Now, I'm not saying, get A's on everything, but like, try to shoot for A's, because your grades really do matter all the way to the end, from your 9th grade year or whenever you first started taking high school credits all the way up until the end. At my school, mine was an academy, and it was like a K through 12 academy. So I started taking my first high school class in 8th grade, but there's a lot of people who don't do that. So that is the first and foremost thing. Your grades matter till the end. Like, don't look at it as a whole, as in I have to get all of these, like I just have to get an A, I have to look at my GPA and maintain that. Look at it on a scale to scale basis, like, hey, let me shoot for 100 on this test, and have that mentality for like each test. Shoot for that 100, shoot for that A, shoot for that A. My next thing would be, take the SAT or the ACT as many times as you can, because I personally feel like the SAT and the ACT, they don't really test like what you learned in high school. Is mostly you'll do better the more times you take it. For me, I think the ACT, I'm not really that great at science. I could never figure it out, because science on the SAT and the ACT, they're what is it called? What is it called? They're graphs. There we go. They're graphs. They're not actual science. So, and I never understood how to read the graphs, so I always did terrible. And on that mystery section, no matter what it was, I always got like either math or science, something that I wasn't really that great at. I'm really good at English and reading and spelling and everything like that, like looking at it and seeing if it's spelled right. I'm a terrible speller personally. But yes, back on subject, take the SAT, ACT as many times as you can. If you need help studying for the ACT or the if you need help studying for the SAT, Khan Academy has an app where you sign into your College Board account, and they look at all of your past SATs, however many times you've taken it, and they look at what you get wrong, and then they start asking you questions. It's the same question that you got wrong, but they change up the scenario. So if it's a math question that you got wrong, they change the numbers. If it's a science question that you got wrong, they change up the numbers on the graph. If it's an English that you really didn't do that great on, they change up the story, but they still kind of basically ask the same questions. And it's an app that you can get on your phone, or you can go online and do it. I personally like doing it on my phone, because I really didn't like studying for the SAT or the ACT, but since it was on my phone, whenever I did feel like studying, no matter where I was, I could just pull it out and study for it, or what time it was, because most times I would study like late at night after I got finished with my homework, or if I was bored and couldn't go to sleep, I'd be like, oh, I'm laying in bed, let me just go ahead and study. The next thing that I want to say, Common App is your friend. Make sure that if you're trying to go to a school in the South, you fill out Common App, because college applications can be so expensive if you apply to a whole bunch of schools. So I definitely would say Common Apps is your friend. Now, I didn't have to write a college essay report per se. Like, if I didn't want to, I didn't have to. It's optional on College App. But basically what College App is, it asks you like all of the generic questions that most college applications ask you, and it puts it in like a kind of a document, and it saves it. So when you go to apply, like I think when I applied to the University of Alabama, it asked for my Common Apps. Or when I applied to Alabama State, it put it in there. Alabama State, that was really easy. I didn't really have to do anything. I just had to put in my ACT scores, my email, and my first and last name, and then they sent me a letter of acceptance. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. And you know, it's just really easy. The next thing I want to say with Common Apps, they do ask you to get a letter of recommendation, and you have to send it to your teacher or your principal or whatever, whoever your reference is going to be. I would say definitely let your teacher know that you're sending it to them, because if not, they will not know. One of my teachers, I don't think I told him about it, and I just had it email him, and he was just like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, what is this? He just read it and didn't do anything. But then I let him know about it, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll gotta fix myself. I'll go ahead and like get into it. So I definitely would say that. Next thing, request your official transcript from your school. That is what they're there for. I requested my official transcript about 15 times. Yeah, I requested it a lot because every single college needs your official transcript. So, and it's not as, when they say official transcript, it's the transcript that you have so far. It's not going to be like all of your grades, because you haven't graduated yet if you're a senior. So that's what they're there for. Ask them for your official transcript. They cannot deny that to you. No matter how many times you ask them, it is their job. And for an official transcript, some colleges do require your school to send the transcript from the school like to the college, because they don't want, I guess, the student to forge it, I guess. I don't know. Another thing that I would say, do your FAFSA. I actually have to do my FAFSA for this year. FAFSA will be your best friend, because that's how you get your financial aid. And who doesn't like financial aid? Free money is nice money. Now with FAFSA, they have this thing where they do prior. So they look at your taxes, not from this year, not from last year, but the year before last. Because when I was on the phone with the lady at FAFSA, she was saying, well, most people don't even have their taxes like filled out for those 2 years, which I don't know how you do that, but she said most people don't. So that's why they go prior, so you don't have to wait on your money. Sometimes it can be a yay, or sometimes it can be a boo. Like, let's say your parents lose their job. Well, prior, 2 years ago, they had a job and they were bringing in nice money. But this past year, let's say they lost their job. Now you're kind of at a standstill. And if that is like to happen, if that's to happen, then all you would have to do is just go to financial aid at whatever college you're applying to, and you talk to them about it. Say, like, just tell them your situation, and then if you have your taxes from the last year showing that, hey, like, I've been unemployed for, let's say, a year, like, you just show that to them, and then y'all get to talking back and forth, and they tell you where to go from there. Next thing I want to say, when you're taking the SAT, I know there's a section where you can put like where you want to send your send your scores to. I definitely would say have a general idea of what college you want to go to whenever you're taking the SAT, because you want to put where you want them to send your scores to, because I think it's like five college choices that they'll let you put in there, and they'll send your scores to that college for free. And we like free, because I think to apply at UGA, the University of Georgia, UGA, what does UGA stand for? University of Georgia at Athens? I don't know, but UGA, the application fee was like $75. Alabama State, the application fee was like $35. I know the University of Alabama, I think the application fee was like $50. I can't remember how much Georgia Southern and Georgia Southwestern was, but I mean, it adds up, like $50 here, $30 there, $15 here, $25 here. Valdosta State's application fee was $40. So that's already like $100 and some change that I already called out, and I've only said like 4 schools. So definitely have those 5, and if you have your top 5, put those there. So every time you take the SAT or the ACT, they send those scores there, because you have to pay the application fee, and then you have to pay the SAT and the ACT. You have to pay them a certain amount of money to send it to your school. I think for the ACT is like $13 and the SAT is like $11, but it adds up, because I think I applied to like 10 different schools, so that definitely adds up, and that's more money that can be in your pocket. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is do your research on a college. Like, know if you want to go to an HBCU, or if you want to go to a PWI, or if you even want to go to like a private school. For those of y'all that don't know, a HBCU is a historically black college or university, or an university. A PWI is a predominantly white institution, and a private school is just like, or a private college is just a college where you got to pay more money to. I mean, I don't really know how to explain a private college, but do your research. One thing for me, I did say that I wanted to go to a HBCU. I didn't end up going, but I did my research. I actually took college trips. I took a trip up to Howard. I took a trip down to Fort Valley. I took a trip down to Albany State, to not Valdosta State, even though I did take a trip there. I took a trip to, what is that? Savannah State. That's what it is. I took a trip to Alabama State. I did my research. I looked at how many people went to the school. I looked at what was the ratio of people that got accepted into the schools. I looked at, what else did I look at? I looked at a lot of different stuff. Oh, I looked at what was the typical SAT and the SAT and ACT scores needed to get into the school. Now, one thing that I did research and that I did find with SAT and ACT, those scores, they're based on, it's like an average of everybody who applies that year. So if the average number is a 20 to get into the school, then that's what is going to pop up when you search what is the average ACT score needed to get into Alabama State, or to get into the University of Alabama, or whatever. But then again, your scores aren't exactly everything. Like, just because you don't feel like your scores are high enough, send your scores to the college, because the worst thing they can say is you're not accepted. I think for the University of Alabama, the average score was like a 23 for your ACT, and I applied with a 19 the first time, no, I didn't. I applied with a I applied with a 19, and then I resent my scores when I got my 20, and I got accepted. So it's not exactly what it says, you know. Just put your foot in the door, because the worst thing they can do is just close it. Also, look at the graduation rate of the school, and make sure that your school does have accreditation, because I know Bethune-Cookman, they don't have accreditation as of right now. So I'm really worried for the people they senior year this year, because you may not be able to graduate, or your diploma means nothing. So that was just a waste of a whole bunch of money, because anybody knows Bethune-Cookman is expensive. And like I said, I took a lot of college trips, so what I would say is like the summer before your senior year, or maybe Christmas break, or maybe spring break, take college trips, because I took a college trip to a whole bunch of colleges. I took a trip to Howard, the University of Maryland, Alabama State, the University of South Alabama, the University of Alabama. I took a trip to Georgia Southern, Georgia Southwestern, Albany State, Savannah State. It was a lot of colleges that I took a trip to. I ended up taking a trip to Point University a little later on. But yeah, just take college trips. And I know a lot of people, I took a college trip to Kennesaw, and my tour guide, she said one of the main reasons why she picked Kennesaw was because she felt like she was at home at Kennesaw. So look there. And another thing that I want to say for SAT and ACT, shoot for getting that Zell Miller, because it's a certain score that you can get on SAT and ACT, and you can get the Zell Miller Scholarship. And what Zell Miller Scholarship is, it pays all of your tuition to any public school, any public college in whatever your state is. And I think it's only a Georgia thing, so that would be for Georgia. The Zell Miller Scholarship would pay for your whole tuition. That is currently what I have, so I don't have to pay for tuition at my school, because when I graduated, I didn't score the score on the SAT or the ACT, but I graduated as valedictorian. So your valedictorian gets, at any school, the valedictorian gets the Zell Miller Scholarship, and the salutatorian gets Hope Scholarship. Now, Hope, a lot of people think that Hope covers all of your tuition. It doesn't cover all. I think it covers a percentage. I think it was either 70, 80, or 90% of your tuition. So you still have to come out of pocket for your tuition. And then if you decide to stay on campus, you got to pay for your room and board and your books and everything like that. I know this was a lot of information, and this is a lot to take in, but one of the most important things about senior year and college apps and sorting through everything is, I would tell you to breathe. It is not as bad. Like, once you get over this hump, you're gonna look back and say, wow, I was stressing over nothing. Because that's what I said. I was stressing. Like, my senior year was so, whew, it was bad. It was real bad, because I was stressing, and I never got denied from a college. So around December, when I got the acceptance letters rolling in, that really, like, you know, it made me so happy. Like, I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. But I was stressed. So I would say the most important thing about your whole senior year and college applications process is to breathe. Just breathe. Because most people will tell you that if you don't do early, if you don't apply to the college early in November, then you're not gonna get in. Or if you apply after December, then you won't get in. I didn't apply to Point until I think the beginning of February, and I got in, and that's the school that I ended up going to. So everything will work out. Just breathe. Now, that is the end of my video. If y'all like this, or if y'all found it educational, or if there's any more questions that you have, make sure that you leave it in the comments below, and make sure that you all like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, it's your girl Diamond, and I say sweet.